Hey Ayato, at the time of recording this, you made a response to my video about 20 minutes ago. I got no notification from it and only found out from it after a server member posted it to my server, of course, saying, what is this? Which I agree. What is this? Which was fine. I pinned it, which meant that unfortunately your second message got lost. So here's a screenshot preserving the both of them together, and I'm gonna read them out. And as well, I'm gonna keep them somewhere on the screen throughout the entire duration of this video, just so, you can reflect on what I'm saying in relation to your words. User Ayato's Banana Sucker. Hey, it's me, Ayato Yuri, and yes, I admit I sent those, but I have proof that person was comfortable with me and why they kept talking to me anyway. I'm sure that person who exposed me did it out of envy. Because I had something that person didn't have, and that person also reads yaoi. And I'm pretty sure that person is not a minor because they and I have known each other for a while. I was just joking around, I can't believe V exposed me like that. Ayato, I could end this video in 2 sentences right now if I wanted to. Those 2 sentences would be, he told you he was 15 before you started sending this stuff, you still sent this stuff, ergo you're probably a nonce. But unfortunately, it's marginally in my character to consider everyone's side, and you are a side. So I've made some notes, which I don't know if you can hear that. That's the paper. I made some notes about all of the concerns you had that I think are relevant, and I'm going to discuss them in a lot more thorough detail, and, that's that. And then hopefully you will never speak again. That's my hope, and I'm sure it's a lot of other people's as well. There's multiple people under my comments who begged you not to reply, but, I have a feeling you didn't see them, so... And because these screenshots are immortalized now within my server and my files, there will be no benefit to you deleting them. Hey, so I found it really bizarre that you thought V was comfortable because I didn't get that impression from both his conversations with you and his conversations with me. And, I just... What can I say, Ayato, really? I can only go off of what I know, and what I know is that when he reached out to me on TikTok, it was not in a particularly nice manner. He wasn't rude, but the subject wasn't nice, and he didn't really, for a guy who was comfortable with you, he didn't really speak of you in a very positive light, if you understand what I mean by that, And his following messages on Discord, you might remember from my other video, were to tell me to prep myself. And I told V that I am anxious, and then V sent the screenshots, and I will show you all of this again, because who knows, you might be a little, you might need a little refresher, so it's all going to be shown on screen during this part. I don't know, Ayato, is this the behavior of someone who's comfortable with you? Let's look at some more, don't answer that, let's look at some more. Let's look at some more. So, V actually told me that I would need a translator immediately after I said that you were deranged from, seeing your screenshots, because you were. Let's not lie on that, you were. And V replied to me saying that this is the safest thing he could show me. Again, does that sound like something someone would say when they're comfortable to you? Let's continue. V said that he engaged with you purely because he wanted to see how long you would do it, and V counted 4 days. And I said, 4 days, there is more? And V said, more than this? Of course. And followed up with telling me that you said that you would strangle V's private. I don't know. Again, Ayato, why would V have told me any of this? If they were comfortable with this. Let's continue. So I sympathize with V, and I said that I had an encounter with someone very similar a few months ago, and it was very messed up, and that I'm really sorry to him. All of that is true. I had my own disgusting encounters over time, recently and old, so I could relate to V's situation a lot, which is why I'm very passionate about this and why I'm so aggravated by your response. V replied to me and said, I know, right, those creeps bother me. Iota, why would he be calling you a creep if he was comfortable with you? No? Let's continue. Hey, so V told me outright that he was 15 at the time of your conversations. I said, do we know the age of the other guy? I think he said to me 17 or 18. V said, I genuinely feel sorry for you as your tutorials had helped me play Mary. I said, I will open my DMs with you to find out what you had said specifically, because you said both, and my brain at the time couldn't remember which one was the right one. V told me, V said that you told him 17, like turning 17. So, you know, again, that was honest conversation we had about you. But V was still 15, so it, you know, whatever. V then also sent your profile, I should add. Again, why would V do all of this to a guy that he was comfortable with? Please, let me know. I would love to know why someone would go through all of this trouble for someone that they're comfortable with. Let's continue. Hey, so just a little bit, like immediately after he sent you the he sent me the profile of yours. I said that I was incredibly bothered by all this. Yes, I regret my kind words to you. V said that you are a disgusting twerp. Again, why would he do that for someone he's comfortable with Ayato? I don't understand. I said that I never knew you could be so damn weird, because that's true. You seemed kind of nice. If anything, if I'm, like, totally blunt here, you calling me Martinez-san annoyed me, but, you know, that's just a minor thing I overlooked. I didn't realize you were actually doing all this other stuff as well. So now I'm, like, actually really bugged more. But V said, they look kind, yeah, but once they get comfortable, quote unquote, then whatever this is starts. Which is exactly what this seems to be to me. You know? Again, why would V say something like that about someone that they were comfortable with, allegedly, you know? These aren't very polite things you say about someone that you're, you know, close with or such like that. So if it isn't by any means your fault that V is saying this stuff about you now, then what is it, Ayato? Let's continue. There is, of course, our conversations about your age when we realized that you lied to us both. I said that I checked the age that you gave me, 17, but also turning 18 soon. And that's when V let me know that you said that you were 16 turning 17. And I freaked out and I asked V, can you find that? Because of course I did. Why wouldn't I? And I put them side by side. I put my one in the chat and he put his in the chat. So, you know? And this is actually breaking away from our subject line about V being comfortable with you. This is actually a new paper I have, which is things I wish you would have spoken about. Ayato, how old are you? How old are you actually? Can you be honest with anyone at all about this? That's something I wish you would have said in your comment to explain how you could be both 17 and 18 at the same time. You didn't give a single word of thought to that though, which really angered me a lot, because that's like the biggest crime you have committed, if any, is exposing someone who told you they're 15 to 18 plus content, and also lying about how old you are. So which one is it, Ayato? Are you 18 or are you 17 now? Is your birthday even May 9th? You know? What else are you lying about? How old are you, Ayato? Are you talking to anyone else? Because V was kind of hopeful, and I'll find the messages for this. V was kind of hopeful that you were not talking to other people because. Where is it? I need to find the message. I don't want to be reading from my memory because my memory is awful. Ah, here. I said, hey, sorry to message again. I wanted to ask since you may have had server with this person before. And V said once. They invited me in one. I asked, what were they like in the server? Are there potentially other people who have had these weird messages? V said he left. And I said, how was that? V said you were not acting like this. Like, by that I mean, like, you were not acting the way you were in DMs on the server. I asked hesitantly, yeah, well, that's worrying. V said, why is that? I mean, if it's just you, I'm not gonna say to comfort. It's not better if there were others, but targeted behavior is a concern too. Maybe there was a closeness, you know what I mean? V said, oh, I see. I said, like someone who has no boundary in cartoons, stick to your foot kind of friend. Did it ever feel like that? Or actually, I should ask how you would describe it, your friendship, I mean. And V said it felt like that. I said, I'm sorry if I'm not describing any of this good at all. V said it also felt a bit restrictive on my side since I couldn't share a lot because our subject was always about adult content. I said, I understand. I get the idea from your messages too. As in the screenshots. I said, I thought I should ask because I don't want to just assume that entirely, and V said, yeah. But that was the impression I had too. I'm sorry, I said, and V said, no, don't apologize, it's fine. Does any of that sound like the words of someone who is comfortable with what you're doing? Where he felt restricted because all you would bring up is these 18 plus manhwa and talking about these various body parts and such like that and lusting after characters? Does it feel very comfortable that V would tell me that they felt restricted by you? Does that seem like a very comfortable person, Ayato? Okay, Ayato, so maybe I was just incredibly and unnecessarily rude to you when I was speaking about you in my last video. I want to give you a fair chance because I believe in that. I believe everyone deserves a fair chance, especially in serious situations like this. Even though I must state now, I personally think your response is absolutely insane. I'm going to treat you with dignity and have hope that your words might have some element of truth to them. That hope is quite small because you still could not even be honest about your age, but, let's take some baby steps and figure out what's actually going on. As mentioned earlier, you said that V was quite comfortable, so we just looked through my DMs. I personally can't find any moments of comfort that V expressed to you. If I have to show you my entire DMs, I can and I will. Probably on the side of the video, I'm gonna put a really sped up scrolling, I guess, of me going through it all. I don't. You know what I mean? I'll have to blur it because of the nature of the stuff you were sending to V. You know the stuff that I cannot show because of guidelines, because you were sending it, and it was really inappropriate. Yeah, I'll have to blur it because of that, but I can show you what the fucking base of the message look like, I guess, if that's what you want as well. So I'll probably be doing that throughout this segment, but Yeah, I want to give you a fair chance. So we've looked at my messages with V and what V said about you there. Let's look at your messages with V that I have access to see if there were any moments of comfort that are anywhere to be found at all, because I couldn't find them when I was making the other video, and I spent nearly a month on it. So maybe I just wasn't looking hard enough. So let's take a detailed and thorough look now. Hey, so as mentioned, we're gonna look at some of the screenshots. I pulled up this one here first because it seemed like quite a good example of what I'm trying to show you, which is that you tried to bring something up which was very not appropriate, and V changed the conversation immediately. Um, Ayato, why would he do this if he felt comfortable with the stuff you were bringing up? I mean, he replied with a sobbing emoji, but that don't mean much at all, really, in my opinion. Because people do that all the time for things, whether they feel anything about it or not. You know, there's every possibility that it wasn't maybe uncomfortable, but it was just really fucking awkward that you were bringing up this stuff. So V just kind of tried to shove it away as quickly as possible, which, you can literally see that. I've done the same thing where I replied to people with like a thumbs up or something and, stop talking to them or something alike, because the conversation is awkward or it's dead, or, I really don't want to speak anymore. Which is not an uncommon thing, especially in online spaces. So, you know, um, if you weren't aware of that before, you are now, I hope. And hopefully, then looking into the rest of the messages, it will continue to make sense for you. But Ayato, my question stands again: does this look like someone who's comfortable? Let's move on to the next one. The next one I've chosen to bring up is the Gojo fan game again, where you just send the screenshot and you're talking about, this fine options and such like that for. You know what I mean. I don't really want to repeat that over and over again because I have a feeling I'm gonna refer to that one more anyway. It's really ironic actually, because you're the one who broke the subject. You originally were talking about your fan game, and then you broke the subject by asking about V's family. And you know what, Ayato? That's fine. That's completely okay. But you know what V did? V completely ignored your screenshot, completely ignored all the first stuff, and only replied to your question. Um, which I found, again, does that seem like something that a comfortable person would do? And I want you to notice as well that this time V didn't even give you a reaction. He just ignored you entirely. Does that seem like something that someone comfortable with these kind of conversations would do? Because to me, Ayato, this looks like everything I was literally just talking about in relation to trying to shift the conversation when it gets awkward or uncomfortable as soon as possible. It you can consider it a form of avoidance, if you will. It's not directly. I don't know how to put it. It's really uncomfortable as an outsider to see this, but it makes me wonder then just how much more uncomfortable it was for V to actually be sitting and engaging with you when you're talking about this stuff. Again, does this look like the interactions of someone who is comfortable with you sending this type of stuff? Probably not. But hey, let's move on to the screenshot, which probably is your liable fighting evidence. Because there is one. And I'm gonna give you a fair chance, and I'm going to show that one as well. So let's move on to that. So here's a screenshot here that I think you would probably be referring to in terms of like oh, he was comfortable. Which is not a surprise. I've already discussed this screenshot and the things that V said, but I'll go over the summary again. Ayato, in his messages, when it starts from Ayato-kun at what I think says 7 p.m., but it's so zoomed out right now. Yeah, it says 7 p.m. You were talking about, you brought up Twink, and then, you know, the conversation continued. It's nothing that serious, really. You know, V's talking about something. And you talk about your disgusting, awful phrase, which I'm not going to repeat aloud. It's none of my... No thanks. And V sends a sobbing emoji, which again I've already explained, you know, doesn't necessarily mean shit. And you apologize to V, and God, hold on. You apologize to V, saying, sorry, I can't help it, I love fictional characters too much to the point where I would have intercourse with them, is what you said. V said, no need to blur, it's okay. Which, you know, that would be your evidence, if there is any, to say that V was comfortable. And you know, you follow this up by saying good, because you're going to say more freaky stuff. What I'm going to tell you up front and bluntly now is exactly what I told you in my last video. There is a good reason that 15-year-olds cannot consent to this type of stuff. And it is because they say dumb stuff like this. They don't understand the seriousness of the situation they're in. Hence, you get statements like this from V, where, you know, oh, there's no need to blur out this stuff. Yes, there is. And there's an even greater need from you, Ayato, to not be sending this stuff to a guy who has told you he's 15. So, I don't know even why I bother wasting my time indulging in this tiny segment to tell you that none of this is inappropriate. Again, it's another point that I literally could have ended in 2 seconds by saying he's 15. It doesn't matter whether this guy was uncomfortable telling you not to blur it out. It doesn't matter. What I mean to say is, it doesn't matter if he is comfortable and telling you not to blur it out. It doesn't matter if he is uncomfortable. Well, it matters if he's uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter, if that makes sense, because he still cannot consent to any of this stuff. Do you understand? And on this topic, I want to mildly shift my focus now to another part, which was your phrase about how you are pretty sure this person is not a minor. Ayato, I'm trying really hard to speak about this respectfully and politely, but with a response like this, it's hard for me to. Forgive my bluntness, but I don't think you have a right to decide what age V is when you can't even decide what age you are, but that's just me. If we're going to talk about this in honesty and full respect, then my truer statement to you would be that you don't have any jurisdiction. You don't have any judgment, any decision over how old V is. V has given you an age, and that age was 15. It's not your moral judgment that is going to be questioned if you were to be pulled up in court. Sitting there and saying that you did not believe him when he said he was 15 is not a good defense, Ayato. You know what group of people also say stuff like that? I didn't believe he was actually this young. The same people who pick up their girlfriends from, like, an infant school talking about how mature she is. You look and sound exactly like a predator when you are saying stuff like this. So this is not the defense you thought it was, actually. It is quite the opposite, and I am even more worried now that you say something like this so calmly. Yeah, I didn't think that this person was a minor. Why does it matter what you thought, Ayato? Um, who cares what you think, Ayato? Can I be any more, like, honest about this? Because I don't care what you think. When I'm sitting here analyzing this situation, I don't care how old you think V was, because V told you how old they were, and whether V was lying or not is irrelevant. Okay? Even if, and let's entertain this for half a second, because I don't believe it. But even if, in the unlikely aspect that V was lying about his age, who gives a shit? Because you were still comfortable messaging someone who told you they were 15 about 18 plus content. You were still okay recommending a 16 plus game to someone who you only knew was 15. You were fine with all of this interaction with someone that you only knew to be a 15-year-old. What you think they are and what they are telling you are two different things, and I don't care about what you think, Ayato. I don't care about how mature or how old V might have been, or V might have been older. I don't care. The messages of you sending screenshots from New Carnival and such like that come after V told you that he was 15. You don't get to decide what age you think V is. When you are talking to minors, you take what they say at face value, because the penalty for getting it wrong as someone who is older or initiating conversations of this nature is so much worse than just believing them blindly and never engaging in these kind of inappropriate behaviors in the first place. Do you understand me? It is the same reason that I do not have personal connections, like, you know, day-to-day conversations, voice calls and such like that, with minors. Even though I know that I am not a weird fucking person like you are, it's because it's still not appropriate for me. As I said in my last video, I would never want to encourage other minors, like minors in general, to feel that it's safe to be doing that with adults that they, you know, are not close to by family or anything like that. It's not normal for an adult to send you stuff like this. It's not normal for you to be deciding what age you want to respect V by. That's not your decision to make. V has given you an age. That's the age you go by. So I've wasted a lot of my time here to entertain your stupid fucking response. The very short, sweet summary, as I said way ago, is literally V's 15, as they've told you. So you should have backed off ages ago. But you didn't. That's why we're here. So, and again, you mentioned so much. You mentioned so much about V. I've got to remind you, Ayato, you're the one being accused of messaging minors inappropriately. You're the one being accused of sending inappropriate stuff. And it's hardly even accusations, because the proof is in the pudding. The evidence is there. It's hardly accusations, and in this statement, you have admitted to it. It's hardly an accusation anymore, Ayato. It's basically fact. You have outright said, yes, you sent those screenshots. I don't care for the proof you have that the person was comfortable, because the person was 15 and couldn't consent. That's the end of that. And why they kept talking to you anyway? Because the person was 15 and couldn't consent or understand that this situation was really fucked. Let's stop for a minute, Ayato, and let's focus on you for a minute. Which is what you should have been doing anyway in your response. You know, that 2.5 hour long video was not made for giggles and jokes. I was not sitting behind the camera laughing. I was sitting behind the camera laughing for this one though, reading this. Some of the people on my server were laughing at you. Some of the people on my TikTok were laughing at you with how dumb this response is. But I'm going to turn around your language. I know I said I would go through every point on it. That's not true. I lied. My bad. The truth is, I don't have to go through every point because V is 15. What I will do, though, is I'm pissed off by how much you're focusing on V, so let's turn this around, as I said. Why the hell do you care that V was comfortable or not? V was still 15. Answer me that. Next time you leave a response, answer me that. Also, I want you to answer me, how old are you? Because you have managed to miraculously dodge that. Honestly, my entire 2.5-hour video, I reinforce over and over and over through the whole thing that you are somehow claiming to be two different ages at the same time. How the fuck is that possible, Ayato? How old are you? How old are you? Answer me that. And this, why they kept talking to me anyway, why the hell you kept talking to them? You're the one sending the inappropriate stuff to someone who said to you that they're 15. Why are you keeping contact with someone who says they're 15 if you're wanting to have inappropriate conversation like this? At least do it with another adult. And we're going to talk about your issue with consent soon. That's going to be discussed because something that this response highlights to me is a very crucial point I need to hammer in harder than I did last time. So we're going to get to that soon. This statement about exposing something and envy, I'm completely disregarding because, Ayato, there is nothing to envy about you, quite simply. And again, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about why V might have had some envy about you because V's 15. You were caught messaging a guy who is 15. That's the end of the story. Everything else after that doesn't matter. I don't care about what motivations V had to message me in regards to you. V reached out to me out of concern. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to everyone else. The only person here talking about any kind of jealousy is the only guy who wants to defend his face right now. Because you got caught messaging minors inappropriately. And this is the worst response I think I've ever seen. Honest to God, Ayato, I've never seen a response this fucking bad. Like, what do I even say to this? Should I hand you a ukulele or something? I don't understand. Let's continue. What else? Oh yeah, that person also reads yaoi. Ayato, again, I feel like you didn't watch my full video, the full 2.5 hours. I feel like you watched maybe the first 40 minutes and then checked out. That video was not about the boy loves only. That was an impression that more than one person got, actually. Not a huge amount, but a couple people that I feel likely didn't watch till the end, so I will clarify it now. The boy love sections where I'm criticizing the media that you brought up, because I don't care for the media, as I've said so many times now. I care that you are bringing up this type of stuff with intimate assault as a theme, which is traumatizing to adults and will be traumatizing especially to minors. You are bringing up stuff with age gaps, which is what do I say? Like, a classic fucking grooming thing, mind you. Especially when you are quite literally possibly practicing it right now, you know? I don't know what to say, no one knows, as far as I'm aware. I don't know how old you are. I don't think anyone else knows how old you are for certain. You can't be honest about that, and you're sitting here talking to a 15-year-old. I'm really concerned about those aspects in relation to you and in relation to your messages of V. I don't care about the boy loves outside of that. When I was talking about them, it was not a criticism of the boy loves. If you took it that way, honestly, that was not my intention. I will apologize maybe a little bit. I don't know. But the entire, after 1 hour 20, pretty much, the entire rest of the hour 10 is entirely focused on primarily Ayato and the screenshots again. So, and even while I'm talking through the boy love sections individually, I am still linking it back to the situation. It's not like I'm giving just a critical analysis of the boy loves. When I showed the messages, not the messages, the reviews, sorry, that was so you guys could believe me. Because if I just said all of this stuff out of hand, I would be showing no fucking evidence for my research and my claims. I had to show evidence and research for my claims and where some of this information was coming from. That's why I showed the reviews, to show that I'm not lying about the nature within these materials, because I cannot show these materials because they're too graphic. So that is why the boy love section was so heavily focused on, because I needed to explain how traumatic and fucked up it is that this is being brought up to a child. I needed to explain what this possibly may say about Ayato himself and the type of person he is. And I needed to bring it up as well because it's context. A lot of these messages don't look that bad until you know what the hell is being shared. So that's why that section was so long and so big and so important, and I don't apologize for making that section. But I do apologize that people took it the wrong way. But on that front then now, I want to clarify to Ayato's statement, I don't care that V likes yaoi. My criticism was never about whether you like yaoi or even if you like some of these boy love. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. My criticism is that you are bringing up stuff like this to a minor, that you are bringing up stuff with intimate scenes in it, that you are bringing up stuff that are violent to a minor. Things that are going to be traumatizing. Things that groomers often show to minors to desensitize them to it so that they can escalate it further. You know, through things like roleplay or, you know, actual physical actions if it gets that far. You know, unprompted and violating voice calls and video calls. That's why I needed to explain all of this, but I don't care if V liked, you know, yaois or boy loves. That's none of my business. I care on the front, maybe, that V's are minor, so I could only hope that the yaoi they were engaging with was minor friendly, but that's just a hope. I cannot police what V liked, and that's just how it is. I can only put a word of recommendation out to say, hey, this stuff probably isn't good for you if you are a minor, but I cannot control the actions of individuals. You know, kind of like with this video or the last video, I cannot control who's going to believe me and who's going to want to speak to you or want to avoid you after this. These videos are made as a cautionary, not as a direction. You know, people should be aware of the shit you've done because you've done a lot. And I have a suspicion you're still doing it. Because you don't seem at all fucking ashamed or remorseful, so, you know, for all I know, you probably logged off after writing this to go text a new minor you probably have in your DMs. Yeah, I don't care if V's watching yaoi. And as I said, I don't care that you thought he's a minor or he's not. That's not for you to decide. You and him have known each other a while, so something I didn't mention in my last video. Sai mentioned it again in hers, but I didn't have time to mention it in my last video. V was scared because they thought you were stalking them. And there's a screenshot and message to go with that too, of course, which I will show, but you guys were in contact like a year ago and presumably lost contact and then, you know, got back into contact, messaged for 5 days before V unfriended you. But you knew about V's old TikTok account where he used to post Sims 4 content, I believe it was. I will know when I get to the screenshot. I'm not looking for it right now. And you just knew about that stuff, and it kind of freaked him out because he doesn't remember telling you about it. So you know, Sai explained it a lot better than I'm doing right now, but here it is. V's statement. It felt a bit odd because why the fuck he knew about my Sim 4 phase. It felt almost as if he was constantly and silently stalking me. I had a vague sense of insecurity when I spoke with him. And I think, but I'm not too sure, he was one of the first people to like my videos on TikTok. It was overall an icky feeling that something bad might happen, but I just kept going on because I was curious, and now I realize I was dumb. V's words about you. V was, as I mentioned, scared that you were stalking him. I didn't have time to put it in my last video because I ran out of time to keep making it. One, I ran out of storage on my PC to keep making it. Two, and there was pressure on me to get the captions finished, so I couldn't talk about everything I wanted to then. I can do it here now. Yeah, the screenshots to go with that I will put up somewhere on the screen with their translation, which V actually wrote out themselves, thank goodness. So, yeah, you've known each other for a while, but that knowing seems to be very one-sided. You knew about V, I don't think V knew about you all that well as you think he did. And your last statement, I was just joking around, I can't believe V exposed me like that. Yeah, so fucking funny to message minors about 18 plus content. Yeah. You see, Ayato. You know what's actually really funny to me? What's really funny to me is the fact that you think that any of this could have ever been funny. But comedians don't get famous and popular because they tell a joke and are the only ones laughing in the room. You understand me? If you are doing stuff that you think is funny or is a joke and only amusing yourself, you're probably not funny. That's something I've always believed in. You want to know what's really funny to me? What's really funny is the 260 likes to 5 dislikes ratio I have on my video currently, as of recording this. That's really funny to me. That's really funny to me, actually, because I find it hilarious. You want to know what's really funny to me as well, Ayato? I pinned your comment about 5 hours ago. You know what's really funny to me, Ayato? The fact that my server, my TikTok, found your response really fucking funny. That's what I find funny. The fact that other content creator mutuals of mine were reaching out to me to tell me that you are insane. That made me hysterically laugh. Because that's actually funny to watch. It's not funny to watch a man who's lying about his age talking to 15-year-olds. That's not funny to watch. That makes me angry. There is like 20 minutes straight of voice notes of me hysterically crying to my close friends from when I first found out you were doing this shit. Because it was that fucking unfunny, Ayato. So, just the heartwarming messages that people have sent me or replied under my video about you, sharing their own experiences or talking about how much of a piece of scum you are, that's funny. Not because it's funny that they had those experiences, but because everyone seems to have a united agreement that you are trash. That you are an awful human being, Ayato. That's funny to me. That makes me laugh. Not whatever the hell you think is funny about texting minors. So, with that out of the way, I think I've addressed your claims well enough. I can't believe how obsessed you are with the idea that you're being exposed. This isn't an exposing video. The last video was not an exposing video. I was speaking factually about the fact that you are a predator in my community. This is not exposure. This is literally exactly what happened. I'm not sitting here to cancel your career or anything like that. Your accounts are too small for a cancellation anyway. You have less than 200. There's nothing to get excited about in this situation. You are just scummy and I'm raising awareness. There's a difference. I'm not a drama channel. I never will be. I never intend to be. I'm never gonna be. But I've always said time and time again, I'm not pulling up video notes, but I've said time and time again on my channel, my community I will defend and protect harshly. Because I care for the people in my community. But I'm not gonna defend people like you, because you're disgusting. Why would I defend you? Honestly. I have no need to. You are an active danger to people in the IDV community and in my community. I'm going to put your name out there to protect people. This is not done as a call out against you. I said that actually as well before. This is not a call out video. This is me stating an incident as it has happened and the problems with said incident happening in the first place, why it's so dangerous, what we need to look out for, and what we can do to be better. Your lack of ability to listen to my last video, though, makes me believe that you probably will never get better. Some of my close friends thought that your response was actually a troll, which might be true, but hey, I've dignified you with this response that you utterly didn't deserve. If this video has seemed passive-aggressive at all to you, Ayato, it's because it is. I cannot emphasize with enough passion, I hate you. When I told you to stop interacting with me and my community, I kind of hoped that you would be intelligent enough to realize that that also meant don't leave a comment. I will say for the last time, I don't care about any evidence you have or anything that V was comfortable. V was 15. End of story. You are fucking weird. Hey, so I've got 2 more things to discuss. I'm gonna try to quickly fly through consent because it's 2 a.m. for me currently. Listen, Ayato, one thing's become very clear to me during your response, and it's that you really, really don't understand consent. Again, if it's not all of the he's 15, stop talking to him that you're just ignoring for some godforsaken reason. If it's not the fact that you still cannot address which age you are, well, then, I mentioned that I was disturbed by you thinking that V being comfortable or not or anything was even a factor. It had me thinking, and I am very convinced your idea of consent is so much more warped than it even just looks now on your own message. I think your issue runs a lot deeper than anything that I can see on visual screenshots. So I'm going to try and explain my thought process as well as I can to everyone else so you can understand what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking, and don't correct me if I'm wrong because I don't want you in my comments. What I'm thinking is that your idea of consent is not surrounding the basis of needing yes, it's surrounding the basis of the existence of a no. Do you understand? Which is a really backwards system. If someone does not give you permission, you shouldn't do something. But your basis of consent seems to be wrapped around the idea that you have to be told explicitly not to do something for it to become unconsensual. If that makes sense. And this might be why Ayato has the idea that sending all of these screenshots was okay to a 15-year-old who was trying to shift the topic and such like that. This might be why Ayato thought all of that was okay, because technically V didn't say no, which, fair enough. To my knowledge, V did not say no, but V is also still 15, and V is also actively avoiding a lot of your mentions, so on that basis, no consent was given. If you understand my thought process there and why Ayato probably thinks this way as well, this is just what I'm reading into you. I really think you are the type of man who believes that consent is centered around the refutal rather than the affirmation. The centered around the negative rather than the positive, you know? So I think that explains that very well, and that also explains the cognitive dissonance you seem to display between, understanding that V just simply cannot consent full stop. No matter how enthusiastic V was when he told you not to blur anything, and how excited you got when he told you not to blur anything was really fucking weird too. Like, again, I don't like to throw these hard words out there, but you really do look to me like a damn creeper, you understand? Because you got so fucking excited, already plotting out the next things that you were gonna say in the future, or the fact that you were going to say them. You were so excited about the Ayato. That's been disturbing me and bugging me for a little while now. And I hope that that will make sense to you guys as well, to understand probably why he's reacted in this way as well. I'm pretty certain that that is the thought process Ayato has. And this all comes back to, if Ayato, in the event Ayato is a minor, this all comes back to why I was talking about the boy loves. Because being exposed to content like that does have this mental effect, where it will change your ideas around consent because what you're being shown is not what is actually meant to be, And you start to lose the ability to differentiate real from, what you call it, like fiction or illusion and such, And this is especially true tenfold for a child, so I don't want to give Ayato excuses. There's every chance he really is just a weird fucking 30-year-old, someone's uncle or something. But in the event that Ayato might be a minor, then this would explain these behaviors, but you're still a piece of shit for trying to then indoctrinate another minor into this type of stuff. So you're still wrong overall anyway. The next thing I want to cover is a response I got on my YouTube, which I am so certain is Ayato's alt account, because there's no fucking way. I'm gonna screenshot it and read it out loud to you guys right now. I haven't screenshotted it yet. I should probably do that now before he deletes it. Yeah, okay. Screenshotted. Alright, there we go. Hey, I've been friends with them, Ayato, for less than a year, and they've been very nice to me. Yes, these topics aren't great for sharing, but I've been talking to them a ton. They don't bring it up as much as you say. Please, I don't want too much hate for them. I replied, "Are you 15 too?" Forgive me for that, by the way, because I am really angry. I am really, really angry, by this situation, and I just realized something now. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Let me finish reading this. Are you 15 too? I mean, forgive me, I don't believe you are real to stand by him and ignore the obvious issue at hand. I do not care for the boy loves. I care that it's discussed with a 15-year-old. That's the end of argument. Your friend is a weirdo. You're probably just as alt anyway, so a waste of my breath. My boyfriend... My boyfriend replied, think the video shows enough evidence to invalidate your statement, but this was on my... God, I'm gonna be sick. This was on my 2.5 hour long video, and they replied to me, I'm in the younger side, but they have not been acting like that. And I talked to him about shows we share in common, but it's not like we talk of anything terrible. I just don't want to get involved. in this, I just wanted to say they are not a terrible person. Well, unfortunately, both due to the fact that you're standing up for him and due to the fact of what I have just realized right this second, you are now involved indirectly. My apologies. Ayato, your friend just openly stated that he is younger, quite possibly a minor, and you are talking to him about common shows you like. And given I spent the last video talking 2.5 hours about the type of shit that you like, and I know the kind of person you are, I am pretty certain that that friendship is not a normal fucking one. We don't even know if you're an adult or not. And here you have a younger friend standing up for you in my comment section, one who quite clearly doesn't know any better, so I'm not going to drag your name. I contemplated it, but it's just sunk in my head what this actually really means. So, Crow, whether you realize it or not, I want to thank you for confirming that Ayato is indeed talking to other minors. What the fuck? God, I'm really gonna be sick. What the fuck? What the hell are you doing? Talking to kids? You lied about your age and you didn't fucking learn from that because you didn't address that. You're sitting here lecturing me in your comment about how V was comfortable, therefore it was fine for you to send 18 plus content to them. You have no idea about how consent works, or you simply don't care. You're sending inappropriate stuff to a 15-year-old who you're sitting there saying probably isn't even actually a minor, which kind of, honestly, honest to God, come closer. It kind of confirms to me that you're probably not a minor either. If you're sitting there talking about how V probably isn't a minor anyway, so it's fine to discuss this shit, you're probably not a minor either. So, running on that assumption, which I'm pretty confident in now, because of your friend's response forcing me to think about this deeper, what the hell are you doing as an adult texting minors? Full stop. You are a weird fuck. I cannot be more direct with you. Keep the fuck away from me. Keep the fuck away from my community. I can only hope to God that your friend wakes up and see you for the monster that you are. But you are not welcome in my spaces. Ever. I'm going to delete every comment you make from this point on, because this is a confirmation. This is literally all of the confirmation I needed to know that you do not fucking care. That other commenter, who also said they had bad experience with you, which I didn't want to air out and bring into this because that, you know, they shared that in my comments. I'm not going to use that, but I want to say this alone has pretty much given me validity to say that that commenter also has direct validity as well. How many of them are there, Ayato? And how old are you? You are a sick fucking man. I'm so done with you. I'm so done with this video. I'm so done with this entire conversation. Point in blank, V was 15, couldn't consent. Leave your bullshit out of it. You don't decide how old the minors you're talking to are, because that's not your fucking place. If they tell you they're 15, they're 15. Take it as fact. If they tell you they're 16, 17, 18, you take that as fact. Because when you're dealing with minors, it's better to be assuming they are a minor than assuming they're an adult. Because now you got yourself into this fucking situation. And to his friend, I'm so sorry. On the chance that you are a genuine person and not his alt who managed to screw up and make him look even worse. If you are a real person, I am so sorry that you cannot see this man for the evil wicked that he is. I can hope that in time you will open up and realize just how crooked this man is. He's disgusting. He's a manipulator. He's everything that every mother's worst nightmare could ever be. He is a foul and vile creature that should not be walking this earth, and yet I have spent over a month dealing with this, talking about this, crying about this. And I can't believe that I sit here recording this video, recording this voice note, to realize that I have the confirmation now, indirectly, to sit here and say that yes, you are most definitely talking to other minors. You are sick to think that adults can have healthy friendships with minors. If you did not grow up with said minor, which I suspect you haven't, because you were talking to V over the course of 5 days, which is something I want to address, the minor's concerns as well. So we'll do that quickly. Crow, I know you have not watched my video because you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You're vague with your statements. I'm pretty certain Ayato spoke to you so that you would speak then in my comment section. That's how this has worked. I can see that immediately. You haven't watched the video because you cannot reference anything directly from my video. You have not brought up the materials. You've just vaguely mentioned that you talk about media and it's not that bad, but you don't actually know the media that Ayato's been bringing up to V, so you don't have any judgment of that is of your own. I can tell that if Ayato has spoken to you, then he has spoken to you. In the event you are not just an alt account of his. I can tell that immediately. You come here to say that he's not a terrible person. The first thing you did when you got into my video was to duck and dive and find his comment and like it. I know that you've been sent here by him. I'm not stupid. And I know as well that if you are a genuine real person, then you also are probably too young, like V was, to understand why this is so awful. So I'm going to give you a little bit of credit for that. I don't know how old you are. This type of innocence and, to a degree, ignorance reminds me of something akin to 14 and 13, which is even more concerning than ever. You've been friends with Ayato for less than a year. Do you know how worrying that is to me? Do you know how long that is to me? V had that treatment that I have shown since my video the other day, and that was over the course of 5 days. I don't even want to know what less than a year looks like. These topics aren't great for sharing, but I've been talking to them a ton and they don't bring it up as much as you say. Okay, well, Crow, that's not the issue. The issue is that they're bringing it up at all, if you understand me. Ayato is a sick fuck who shouldn't be talking about this stuff with kids at all, full stop. This stuff, regardless of whether Ayato is a kid himself or not, which I don't think he is, because of what you have told me. And because of what he has told me, I don't think he's a kid, and he shouldn't be bringing it up anyway, even if he was, because minors shouldn't really be discussing this stuff with minors. Minors shouldn't be discussing this stuff with adults, and adults shouldn't be discussing this with minors. This type of adult content is adult for a reason. You understand me? And I don't care that you don't want Ayato to be hated. Ayato is hated. If there is only one person that hates Ayato, I guarantee it's me. I will be fizzling in my grave and angry. Furious that I ever let this situation happen, purely by my lack of knowing just what type of person he was. I mean, there's no way I could have known. He didn't come into my life until literally the day they were discussing ages. I couldn't have done anything to stop it. I didn't know he was going to be terrible, but I still blame myself. How messed up is that? I still blame myself. I still sit here talking about how I could have done something, I should have done something, I wish I'd known sooner, I could have handled it, and then it never would have gotten this bad. But Ayato is a sick fuck. And I have nothing polite to say about the things that I wish would come about you. So, yeah, my final message as it stands. I don't care about any defense or evidence you have, Ayato. V was 15. That's it. You knew V as a 15-year-old. V told you he was 15. There's evidence for that. There's evidence for you telling V that you're 16 turning 17. And the counter evidence where you tell me that you're 17 turning 18 on the exact same day. You are a liar. You are probably a manipulator. You are probably a nonce. You are probably not even a minor, based off of what you're saying. If your concern is that V is not a minor because you decide he's not a minor, then the chances are you're also probably not a fucking minor. You're just a really sick, as I told my boyfriend, and I will make this statement public, I told my boyfriend that you're just probably some adult content addicted maniac, new adult, like 18, 19, 20. That was my impression of you. And learning all of this, I don't think I'm wrong at all. I think I was spot on about you, and I'm so sick of you. So this is my last statement. Ayato, you are sick. Crawl back into the hole that you came out of. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Crow, if you are a real person and not Ayato's alt, you have my fucking sympathy. I can't imagine speaking to a man like this for almost a year. I had to speak to him for a day, and it has cost me so much mentally and physically to find out all of this shit afterwards, so I can't imagine actually living through this shit. My apologies to you. If you are Ayato's alt, then I have been made a fool of, but I still stand by everything I said, because in your defense of yourself by using an alt account, you have somehow made the situation, again, even worse for yourself. Please stop trying to defend yourself. You're really bad at it. Just stop talking. When I told you to disengage from my community, it was kind of for your own good. But I'm not talking anymore on this because I need to go vomit now. Goodbye, guys.